What's up, everybody, and welcome to my Impact Wrestling review. A lot of things going on the show tonight in the finals of this number one contender world title tournament. Well, it's not for the world title, but it's for to see who will become the number one contender and I guess a future shot for the Impact World title. I guess whenever Tessa Blanchard shows back up. But at some point, sometime, there will be a title match. But this is the finals of this tournament. But there's a lot going into this show tonight, as a lot of things went down from here. We do kick it off, though, with Kylie Ray and Susie Young versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Like I said before last week, a lot of women's tag teams being formed around right now. Some people think that the Knockouts tag titles could be back, which could be the case if you want to bring that back, because they have been building up a lot of teams with all these women they've been having come in lately. I know some have not been around in general, but at the same time they have signed a lot too. And we'll get into some women returning, but I don't know if this is a new set of tapings. I believe that will not be till next week. To what I have been told, but I feel like they may have edited a couple things into the show tonight. But kicking off the show, like I said, that tag team match, not a bad match to kick off the show. Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan ended up getting the win. Susie Young pretty much taking the pinfall off of Kiera's finisher that kind of like was not the page turn or anything, but pretty much that twist and suplex. I know that pretty much for the win. Pretty much, I keep saying pretty much, but yeah, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz pretty much got the win from right that point in time, over Susie, I'm not trying to say Susie Young or Sue Young, but, it's kind of hard to get the names confused as Kylie Ray looked pissed off. So like I said, for a lot of teams being, right now in Impact, but yeah, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz's new team pretty much getting the win over them tonight. They interviewed Ace Austin, though, pretty much talking about him being in the finals tonight of this entire tournament. Talking about, he's moved on from Willie Mack, that the X Division title is in the past, and that it's time to move on into the future. But the next thing you know, Moose came in pretty much saying, listen, congratulations on beating Rhino and Hernandez, but listen, I'm here to show you something of how prestigious this TNA World Championship is, since Moose is still holding the TNA World title, just walking around with it, which honestly, he's the only world champion you have legitimately on this show. I can say that at least. I know it has nothing really to do, but hey, your other so-called world champion is not here right now due to the whole virus and everything. So basically, Moose is almost like the interim one, but I can believe Moose more as a world champion if you ask me. But as he is holding the TNA World title, he talked about how names like RVD, Kurt Angle, and Sting have held this championship. And that, hey, Ace, you could become number one contender tonight. Don't go for that Impact World title. That's just second rate. You want to go for the real thing? Come after the TNA title. Ace Austin pretty much looked on for a second and said, maybe I will. As he walked off then, Joey Ryan or Joseph P. Ryan went against Crazy Steve. OVE was out there winning him. Not much of a match, I should say here. Kind of quick, honestly. I know OVE got involved, the Chris brothers, and Ryan there ended up getting a super kick on him then for the win, but then he got on the microphone and pretty much talked about how, Chris brothers have enough information to make a decision if they want to join the cancel culture. Pretty much as they agreed, Joey Ryan there pretty much was talking to Jay Kristen, pretty much, the cancel culture or whatever this group is still going with, is for everything and everyone. It's ahead of time, says you need to do the right thing for yourself and cancel culture. Obviously now I guess Joey Ryan needs some type of group, because it's not like RVD is really showing back up on this show anytime soon between him and Katie Forbes. But pretty much this was going to be a portrayal thing. Dave Chris pretty much was wondering why, Joey Ryan was even talking just to Jake and not him, which he kind of figured this was coming. Jake looked at him and then kicked him in the head. So, yeah, there's no more Chris brother team now. I actually thought they were just going to end up both joining Joey Ryan or something, or at least go back to being a tag team again, because Sammy's not in this group anymore. We know Madman Fulton's out of it, and now Jake Chris has betrayed his brother. So now they want to make him the single stars. I don't know how that's going to work. Okay, that I don't really know. But kind of odd they just kind of break them up, especially to have them join Joey Ryan of all people. Because honestly, this cancel culture thing isn't going anywhere. But I guess he needs some type of a team. But yeah, they broke up OVE though at the same time. So don't really know how I really feel about that. I wouldn't say this is a good idea. I think Jake has more personality than Dave, especially when he was doing his golden draw thing. But I'm not sure about him joining in this whole cancel culture group when it's only just Joey Ryan himself, and now he has somebody on his side. But I don't know where that's gonna go. Next, we'll hit Raju win against Chase Stevens. Not a bad match. It was okay. I will say that. Pretty much, the referee Raju uses a shield, which pretty much he hit Chase with a big high knee and did a double stomp on the back of his head and for the win. And as he pretty much looked in the camera and was talking about himself, saying he's the most underrated wrestler in the world, and pretty much talked about his mother called him son because he shines like one. Next, Rhino comes out of nowhere and gores him, since Raju did talk about all these TNA legends about a week ago, and Rhino's on that list, so I'm sure we'll see a match from that. Jessica Havoc and Nevaeh came in as Nevaeh talked about why she is here in the crowd for recent months, talking about how she's been friends with Havoc for years now. And, she's been having problems with this whole Father James Mitchell thing, but now she wants to be there to witness her win the Knockouts Championship. And she just wanted to make sure she was looking at her friend and that she is okay, because now this team has arrived and now they're going to really cause havoc around here. Next up, we got Locker Room Talk, Madison Rayne, Johnny Swinger. Pretty much as they interview Chris Bay, Swinger did a big introduction for him as he sat down. Pretty much Madison Rayne asked him the questions, how's it like being one of the hottest free agents around here? But Swinger kept talking that, Bay, he's going on. He's got everything right now. As Madison Rayne pretty much talked about some of the people he has beaten and talked about, can you beat Willie Mack for the X Division title? But of course, Swinger interrupts Madison Square Garden Rayne right there and pretty much said that Bay is he's an amphibian. He's got a left hand, a right hand. He can go for the X Division title and the tag team at the same time. And he says, you know what, man, this is the finesse and bench press express, and it's better than the Mac and Pack connection that was going on Willie Mack, pretty much calling him a jobber after that. And pretty much says, next week we're going to take out the Mac and Chris Bay. As Chris Bay pretty much sat there very confused, and Madison Rayne pretty much looked like she got pissed and says, sure, because Johnny Swinger wouldn't talk about you can have any rat, man, get all the rats and whatnot. But Swinger says, listen, you going to help me beat these guys next week, and then you going to help me become the champion, okay? That's how it's going to work. Swinger agreed, and, yeah, I got your brother. Madison Rayne said, you gotta stop saying brother, and he said, brother. So, yeah, he went on to say brother a lot for some reason. But, yeah, that is Johnny Swinger for you. Next, though, Jimmy Jacobs interviewed Jordan Grace, who has not been seen on this show for a very long time due to the virus. Now, to what I have heard tonight, like I said earlier, that this was a taped interview just to set up a match for next week. But yes, Jordan Grace is back, and she, they asked about all the new knockouts that have been coming in, a lot of new faces and whatnot. But Taya showed up, person who has also not been here in the past couple months too. Maybe we saw her through some type of interview or whatnot, a video thing, but she has not been on a show and talked about, it's been almost, over a month now. And Taya pretty much told Jordan Grace, you're making yourself look bad being a champion hasn't been showing up on TV. But Jordan Grace says, I've been dying to defend this title. Not defending against you next week. Taya pretty much says, I can't do it tonight, but next week, though. I meant to say tonight, not next week. But, yeah, she wants to do next week. And Jordan Grace says, well, okay, then maybe one of the other challengers want a title shot next week or anything. But, let's want that title shot. Let's go next week. Taya pretty much started looking for Johnny Bravo then. But, yes, at least Jordan Grace and Taya are back on the show now at this point, after being gone during the quarantine. And yeah, I almost forgot there was even a Knockouts champion at 1.2. I'm not gonna lie, because Jordan Grace has been gone. The Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz went against TJ Perkins and followed by good tag match. Enjoyed it a lot. like this match a lot. I actually kind of like the finish. I thought it was pretty creative. It was a finish I didn't expect, but I thought it was a pretty creative finish at the end of this match because Perkins had the knee bar in on Desmond Xavier, but as he got to the ropes, Wentz pushed him back. And when he pushed him back, he basically did a bridge and got the pinfall over Perkins and Ba. So I actually thought that was a pretty interesting finisher. I will say that. Not bad at all for the finish of that match. They shook hands after that. So good match though. I did enjoy this tag team match. Next we got another Deonna Purrazzo intro video. Well, I should say just hype video. How she is the virtuosa, and she talked about how intelligent she is. Intelligent and personification of, I wouldn't say perfection, she said, but she pretty much went on to talk about how, she starts her fights before she even gets in the ring by having strategies, seeped into her subconscious, and that she is prepared for Impact Wrestling, and that, she wonders if Impact is ready for her, because she is ready to, she's ready to fight Impact, but is anybody ready for her? So, great promo video from Deonna Purrazzo, which at least they're kind of some park, I believe, somewhere. As Johnny pretty much say he had a good time hanging out with Rosemary. Rosemary pretty much says, listen, man, I can show you what a hellhound is, okay? Which Johnny Bravo says, I never had this much fun with Taya and everything, and he's not sure how to feel about that right now. Rosemary pretty much told, how about you work with me instead of Taya, okay? Come on. You want to work with me? And pretty much she tried to give him an apple, but he didn't want it, thinking it was some type of razor blades in there or something like that. A lot of crazy people have those. Which she kind of unzipped their, jacket then and whatnot. As Johnny Bravo pretty much agreed to bite it then, because she had to show off something. A lot of people saying, and then next his phone rang, and it was Taya. Rosemary looked pissed and pretty much gave, Johnny Bravo gave him the dog and everything, but he came back and says, I'm an idiot. And pretty much Rosemary said, yes, you are. He took the dog back and he ran, across the country or the other side of wherever Ty is right now to help do her bidding. But Rosemary pretty much at the apple says, this is going to be tougher than I thought. So Rosemary's still trying to get control over Johnny Bravo right now. But they went to Michael Elgin, who was yelling at some dude in production to play his music as he came out. Talk about he's the rightful world champion, and that Sami Callihan screwed him, that he beat himself by letting Callihan distract him last week. And then the whole graphic thing show with the ICU thing happened. Elgin looked on. He says, Sami, that, you can't get it done against me. So now you want to do this. And, I'll face you right now. And anybody who wants to come stop me, I will take hold of this show hostage right now. But Ken Shamrock came out then pretty much brawling with Elgin as he got the upper hand on him, hitting multiple knees on Michael Elgin with them before throwing him out to, get him on the ground. He was going to go for the ankle lock, but he got out of the ring saying, my time and everything. So, yeah, good promo by Elgin, and Shamrock brawl was okay, too. So I will say that. I was wondering how they were going to play into this whole thing with Elgin being out of the tournament last week. So I was interested how they were going to do that. But it was almost time for it was basically time for the main event, because I think they got, like I said before, they got Elgin another storyline, looks like right now, with Shamrock and Sammy. But we were going to get the Ace Austin versus Trey and everything, Trey Miguel. But Ace Austin was out there, but Miguel was knocked out on the ground as the rest of the Rascals looked pissed off then. Ace Austin said he was the number one contender, but Zachary Wentz wasn't going to happen. When that happened, he says, I knew it was you. Referees came to break it up until Scott D'Amore came out saying, he's like, all right, you know what, we're going to have a match right now. Even though I don't think this makes a lot of sense, because, okay, Zachary Wentz is pissed off and everything and whatnot, but he gets a title. Well, he's in that. It's like but Miguel can't do the tournament. Well, he's out of the tournament now, which I get they're trying to protect him in a way because they don't want him losing to Ace Austin again. But at the same time, this is the finals, and now Zachary Wentz is just in the tournament just to be in the tournament now. That makes zero sense when you think about it, because you would have just pushed Ace Austin on for Trey being hurt. But now we get this last minute decision, so now Trey has to fight someone else to get his title shot. This was a very good match, don't get me wrong, but at the same time predictable too. I knew Ace Austin was going to win this match in general. I never really saw him losing. A good match though between him and Wentz, though. I will say that a very good match between these two, but Ace got the pinfall, and he will be the #1 contender for a future shot at the title. But as the graphic went out before they could leave the show, there was another video that came up then, something I didn't expect. It was someone in the hood sitting somewhere having a drink, and it was this like news story about all these wrestlers that got released. Not from, they don't want to say WWE, but all these wrestlers that got released and everything, with all these layoffs and whatnot due to the virus. And this graphic showed people like EC3, Mike and Maria, Bennett, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Rockstar Spud, and EC3, which there was a promotional video for Slammiversary, which is going to be happening on Saturday, July 18th, on pay-per-view. So Slammiversary will happen this year, apparently, in July, and it will be on pay-per-view next month. So Slammiversary is going to happen, apparently, okay? Overall, though, #1, Ace Austin was always going to win this tournament, if you ask me, going in the ending of this, because I didn't really see him beating Miguel either way, and I guess they don't want him losing Austin again, since Trey Miguel did lose to him at Hard to Kill a few months ago and whatnot. Personally, in this whole entire tournament, I don't feel like this tournament should never been happening to begin with. Or if the tournament was happening, it should have been for the world title, not for a #1 contender thing. I say you should have stripped the belt off of Tessa Blanchard like over a month or two ago, okay? She's not here, so make someone else the world champion. At least Moose, it comes off more believable as a world champion, because it doesn't make sense to do this entire tournament for a #1 contender shot, and we don't even know if she'll be. I don't even know if she'll be on for Slammiversary. She doesn't make it by Slammiversary. Just take the belt off her at this point, because it doesn't make sense. Now, for all these people that may be coming into the company, we don't know who, but I can tell who probably won't show up in that. If I had to take a betting on this, I would say either EC3 or Eric Young will be back in Impact. But Mike and Maria, I don't see that happening. I think they only stay because of Billy Corgan. Spud, I'm just convinced Spud's whole NXT release thing is a work. It's a freaking work. I've said that over a month or two now. It is a work with Rockstar Spud in NXT. I really believe that. Who else was in that video package? I already said EC3 and EY and everything. And Carl Anderson, I think he's going back to New Japan. Luke Gallows, I don't know. I don't know if I saw Kurt Hawkins in there and that, but I don't think he was going to make it in here. Also, Brian Myers, but that's how I look at it with all these names. I would like if some of them do show back up, but I don't think all of them are going to show up at Slammiversary, though. We'll see who it is in the next few weeks, but good, interesting promotional good video and everything, pretty much seeing who's going to come here since, due to the virus layoffs, a lot of people can't work right now. So we'll see if any of these people do show up. But if I had to take a bet, it'd probably have to be EC3 or Eric Young that will actually show up at Slammiversary. But Slammiversary is happening, folks, so we'll see what comes from that. But, overall tonight, like I said, you had the tournament itself. Right after Spud won, but I said Austin won, so I don't really have a problem with him winning this match in general. Crack a bone right there. But yeah, the Deon Purrazzo videos wasn't that bad. Main event wasn't bad, even though it didn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't a bad main event, I will say. Like I said, a lot of women's tag teams right now, and some explanations on a couple things here and there too. So not bad from the show, I will say, from this. But like I said, with everything going on, how bad it is, or if your favorite wrestler's burying himself on Twitter, okay. I already went more about that in my Raw review yesterday about what's going on and whatnot. But hey, shit looks like it's getting worse and worse out here nowadays, okay? But that's my review of Impact, though. I did enjoy the show tonight. Like I said, I already said my parts on it, and negatives in this too. I think I went over negatives in this, but excuse me. Yeah, I think I've already went over negatives in this whole thing. Not sure about the whole OVE breakup thing. Well, already broken up. I'm not sure about the Chris brothers breaking up. That one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'll say that. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. But yeah, that's my review for Impact. though tonight of what's going on right now. So yeah, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about the show. We will be back for Slammiversary, probably next month. So I shouldn't really be saying that right now, but the road to Slammiversary is beginning. Which is funny, they showed the flashback of the week with Drew Galloway and Bobby Lashley, who will be fighting for the WWE title next Sunday. So hopefully they have a great match as great as that one, because I remember Slammiversary 2016 very well, and that was actually a very great match that happened during that time. Okay, hopefully they can turn it back on the ground next week too. But overall, though, that's my review of Impact tonight. Like I said, gotta stay safe out there. Like I said, a lot of people just exposing themselves on the internet today, especially when it comes to wrestling and whatnot. So sometimes I gotta watch out for those folks. A lot of folks on there too. Whatever they're saying on Twitter or whatever part of the internet I'm probably not on right now, mostly Twitter. So we'll see what happens with that. But overall, good episode of Impact tonight and everything. Tease on a lot of people, see who's gonna come in and everything. So we'll see what comes from that. So yeah, that's my review of Impact Wrestling tonight. Follow me on Twitter at Hood9090. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.